Alright, Q&A 5, let's get to it. From Hip-Hop X. Shouldn't there be an financial incentive to publish more but shorter videos for ad revenue and praising the Omnissiah, appeasing the algorithm? Do you want 2-hour-long episode to be split into 8 15-minute parts? Because that is an option that will appease the algorithm, but it would be a lot of pain in the ass for you, and I bet majority of you would lose all respect for me. And that is not the price I wish to pay. Look, here on YouTube you have channels that can pop out a new video every other day, like majority of reaction channels or the AI slop. And you have those who create their own amazing animations, either 3 or 2D, and post every few months. I'm somewhere in the middle, and I'm fine being here. I found my style, people seem to enjoy it. I am not a full-time YouTuber, and I'm doing everything solo. I'm very sorry to inform you, but coming up with how to write the scripts, writing scripts, recording, editing videos, and uploading with my abysmal internet takes time. If I try going full-time YouTuber, maybe I will be able to upload more frequent videos. But even so, then I have, Star Wars X Warhammer 40k, which sometimes require a script for, last episode, 40 pages. Sit down, my friend, sit down and simply write a 40-page one-shot story. Not a script, just a story. You don't need to record or edit any images, or organize art or voice actors for the project. Just write 40-page long story, a one-shot. You don't need to bother with the previous episodes, with what was built up in previous episodes. Just a 40-page long story. Do that and tell me how long that took. And when you do, remember that I need to stay consistent with all the episodes I wrote before and with what I have planned in the future. That's far bigger challenge than some people realize. Okay, next in line, kinda a combined question. Ultrasound77, QWEFG3 and House Darksteed all had very similar questions. They ask about our opinion on droids, how would they react, how would they build their own variants, etc, etc. So here is a short answer. Tau are confused. The droids in Star Wars have many impressive features, especially ones used for translation, but the designs of those used for war is confusing. So for now I do not believe that Tau would either purchase or cooperate with any Star Wars corporation to create their own droids. They have their own drones and they work just fine. How will the situation change in the future? Hard to tell. They will probably create some designs to be sold outside their borders and probably implement some technologies from droids into their drones, but I do not think there will be a dedicated cooperation with a corporation to create droids specifically. If anything, it would be a part of far bigger deal, far bigger cooperation, and droid construction would be a bonus to all of that. Okay, next in the list, from Siden P7F. Can Radesh Verave? Oh my god. Mocking Ravax Vered in my face. Okay, very funny. Radish Verave, very funny. Beat your average Night Questoris pattern with Rancor, of course. No, he can't, actually. Even though Rancor is a powerful mech and has a solid chance to take down a Questoris pattern Knight, the critical difference is the experience. The Knight pilots are trained to face and destroy overnight class enemies. Ravaks and Rancor never faced anything like that. Not to mention, in melee combat, Rancor would get obliterated. That claw it has, it's strong and all, but it's nothing compared to melee weapons knights can wield. Okay, next question from Gordo Zinho. Do the attackers believe this is all the Tau's strength, or do they know this is only a colony with a modest amount of forces? Oh, they know it's a frontier colony, and looking at comments under your question, understand your confusion why they're so smug, but let me explain. These are pirates. They always strike at weak planets. Maybe commit an organized raid on a specific target and then run away before true defenders show up. Additionally, by Outer Rim standards, Furious Net is very well defended. It's just the pirates have no idea that by 40k standards, Furious Net is basically undefended. By 40k standards, Wild Jade is barely defended. So to explain your confusion and reverse smugness is that it's a context of scale. That's it. In the pirates' eyes, Furious Net is very well defended colony. In the eyes of a Tau, it's barely defended. Okay, next question. From Commentator 4515. You've introduced a fun vehicle that was posted in the posts. Could we get some background lore and specs from creator or you? Ah, you mean Gecko IFV and Saurus MBT, both that were created by Real Mech is Love. Sure, you will get a background and specs when I finish the lore doc. I totally forgot about it. Sorry, I totally forgot about finishing it. Another thing to the list. Okay, next question. From Nikos, good friend of the channel. Will the Tau start expanding again before the start of the Clone Wars? They got Isekai just before the fourth sphere of expansion started, so they must have a lot of forces ready to go at that point. Someone is keeping attention. Yes, the entire fourth sphere expansion fleet is still operational and ready to be deployed. And I assure you, the new sphere of expansion will happen. It will just happen in the Star Wars galaxy. Next question from Bobby Morris 2979. How would the Huts do if they got their space moved to 40k universe? Oh, they did. They are so incredibly dead. The Huts are criminal cartel that operates through gangs, smugglers, criminal organizations, slave traders, blackmail, and political manipulation. None of these give them any solid advantage in 40k. If you mean the ancient Hutt Empire that was far more militaristic, they might have a chance, but we are talking about a state that would barely resemble Hutts we know, because they would be forced to adapt to the 40k galaxy. So the Hutt cartels dead, the Hutt Empire potential to survive. Next question from CDG1. How would the Tau react to the Skaven? Oh, not compatible with the greater good instant extermination campaign. Unsure if they can succeed without blowing the planet apart, like Death Star style. And even then, I wouldn't be certain if they actually manage to kill them all, because Scavens are resilient little buggers. Next question from Zim the Despot 4673. Oh, hello again. Is the homebrew section on Discord for Warhammer 40k only, or can Star Wars homebrews also put the pod there? You know what? Why not? Season 4 of your homebrews, when we get to it, will include Star Wars homebrews. Sounds like fun. Next question from Fane Kona. How will be thought of Thrawn about Tau? Sorry, you're probably not a native speaker. You mean like what will be the thoughts of Thrawn about the Tau, I suspect. That's one hell of a question. I could make a dedicated video about it. But in short, after listening to several Thrawn books, I know now that he sees Chiss as individuals and almost every other species as a potential asset or potential threat. Sure, there are exceptions. Eli Vanto gained his respect, even admiration, and was seen as a friend. The Tau Empire in his eyes, extremely dangerous military force, especially compared to the Chiss Ascendancy. Incredibly valuable as an ally, incredibly dangerous as an enemy. I won't go into details because, as I said, this topic is worth a video of its own. Next question from Gaming King 4919. Where did the mech come from? You mean Rancor? It was a load-lifting walker, an industrial machine to move containers and whatnot. Ravax took it and over the years transformed it into mechanical beast you see today. He wanted a symbol of power, infamy and terror. Something unique and powerful. So he created Rancor. Or at least that's my explanation why I put and mech heavily inspired by King Crab from Battletech into my story. The other explanation is rule of cool, and the other one is I really wanted a boss fight by the end of the Battle of Furious-Net. And a crisis suit versus tank wouldn't be so interesting as a battle suit versus gigantic pirate mech. Next question from Techlante28. What would the Tau think about the clone army? About how well they fight, not morals. They would see it as incredibly idiotic. Like, think about it for a second. Rather than to create an army made out of citizens, or even droids, the Republic decides to put all bets on shady cloners who operate on one planet. Well, that doesn't sound like a disaster waiting to happen at all. Clones by themselves are elite troops enough. They are very impressive. Tau would respect that much. But that's the thing. They are elite. They should be the tip of a spear. The tip of an army made out of volunteers and conscripts. not the entire spear. The Tau Empire can allow themselves to have large, relatively well-trained and elite force because they have Firecast, and Firecast is everywhere. I mean, compare the two. It's abysmal, the difference. The minuscule Tau Empire has hundreds of billions of Firecast members. Every single one trained from birth. Trained to face the monsters of 40k Galaxy, with veterans who faced them and survived to command them, to lead them into battle. And then you have Galactic Republic that spans majority of the galaxy. And they have one freaking planet that produced several million clones. I mean, official numbers don't put number of clone troopers above 10 million. But you know what? Let's say that somehow the Camino managed to create and produce 600 million clone troopers. 600 million. And compare that to Tau, who can count their fire warriors in billions. Tens or hundreds of billions. And that's totally ignoring the number of auxiliary potential forces like Gwevesa, Tarelians, Galks, Kroot, Vespid, you name it. So, yeah. The clone troopers themselves would be respected as warriors because they are impressive, as I said. But the idea of a clone army that the Republic accepted and deployed? I bet the Tau seen orcs, high on shrooms, that had better ideas than this. Okay, next question from Ivan Torres 641. What are the characters you have a harder time writing, including both your original characters and the Star Wars original cast? Ooh, tricky question. On one hand, with original OG characters, I need to my best to keep them in character, to keep, consistent with their characteristic in official media. But with the characters I've created, I must make sure to not make them too overpowered, to not overshadow the original cast. I tried my best to keep it balanced, to not show that OG characters are pushovers in any way. Best example I have in mind, Dane Marek. People love to hate him and they see him as quite OP. But even he himself in episode 2, if you are keeping attention, said that Anakin will be one day powerful enough to defeat him with ease. It's not that moment yet. With Lina Vos, with her training or demonstration of her power in the Jedi Temple, I tried to show that the reason why she won was because of her unusual weapons and abilities. Those droids were trained and made to train Jedi. Lina Vos doesn't follow any script of how Jedi fights, including using a ranged weapon. So she managed to overcome the limiting programming of the droids, but I hope I made it clear in that there was a still struggle against those droids, that if she faced an actual Jedi warriors, Jedi Knights, she would be completely defeated. So, answering your question, Ivan Torres, they are both difficult, but they are difficult in different ways. Okay, next question from Psab950. Oh, hello. A new energetic friend of the channel. Let's see what you want to ask. I really like Ravak so far, and he obviously is a big name in the Outer Rim. So now I'm kinda wondering what he would think about the Shadow Collective. Since it was large, okay, let me be clear on that point. The whole Shadow Collective plot from the Clone Wars series was total bullshit. I mean, Maul just strode right in and created a galaxy-spanning criminal empire in like one episode? That should have taken a full season at least. I mean, they presented taking over the criminal underworld of the galaxy as something like laughably simple. Death Watch didn't even have a proper navy at the time. They just strode right in and they forced everyone to submit, including the Hutts. If I took that depiction of the Hutt cartels seriously, the Tau Hutt war I have planned for the future of this series, it would last a week, if that. I could write that Tau Commandos, Crude Warriors and whoever else I decide to choose would just strode right into the heart of Hutt cartel's power and slaughter every single head of major families, decapitating basically leadership of Hutt cartels and putting the entire criminal empire into total disarray. I mean, I hated that plotline, and I can't work with it. It just is so shit. And guess what? Ravax would think the same. Hell, he would be insulted. Because there is no way he couldn't do the same. If taking power over criminal underworld of a galaxy was so simple, Ravax would do this himself. So yeah, again, this plotline, this whole idea was so poorly executed, and I'm not including it in my story. No way, no how, it was so freaking dumb. I can't work with this. I simply can't. Okay. Last question. From Scary Stopvat 9985. Well, hello, Scary. I'm glad to see you. Let's hope you have a fun question. How will the Tau interact with nearby bounty hunter guilds? Okay, that's a really fun question. Mostly cooperation. The Tau aren't new in using criminal organizations for their own use. Bounty hunters and their guilds have far greater reach than the Tau Empire. I mean, they are everywhere. I bet you can find some in the unknown regions as well. Bounty hunter guilds and, for example, smuggler alliances and other organizations of this kind would be seen as an asset. Tau would offer them a good deal, a chance for trade, a safe port, ability to be ignored if they operate in a specific place or region, and everything will be dandy as long as they do not mess with the empire itself. And those guilds and smugglers who decide to work with the Tau Empire will benefit greatly. Every organization that decides to challenge them or cause them problems will be out of business in that region of the galaxy in relatively short order. I do hope I will show the evolution of relations between the Tau Empire and bounty hunters and smugglers throughout this series of mine. Okay, that's it. Like, comment, subscribe, support me through Patreon and Ko-fi, all the jazz. You know what to do. Stay tuned. and stay safe out there.